All right. Let's see if I can adjust this a little bit. Welcome to my new little set. I hope that I'm using this mic. I don't know if there's a way to test that or to see. Let's see. I'm not sure. Hopefully I'm using the right mic. We'll see. Hello, Isabella's in the chat. Hi. Hello. Okay. So let me pull this up on YouTube and make sure it's really up. Awesome. Okay, it looks like we are indeed live, which is terrific. Okay. Hello. Hi, everybody. All right. So, welcome to my new little set. I created a set. I bought this like really cute chair and this super cute. Let me see if I can show you. See this cute little side table? Isn't that adorable? And then I had the plant already, but I created this whole little set. I have my podcast mic up here. Oh yeah, looking forward to some advice. Oh, we're gonna dig into it. But I got this whole little set because I am starting a business podcast. If you didn't know, I am a content creator, but I'm also a life coach for autistic and ADHD people. But for the last like 6 months to a year or so, I have also been a business coach. Fun fact, I also do that. I have like another business called The Chaotic Entrepreneur. And I just started a podcast that is going to be all about how to run a chaotic business and how to do business in a way that works for you and your brain. And I am so excited about it. You should be able to check out the link to the podcast in the description of this live. So the podcast is there. And then there's something else that I want you all to know about, which is our monthly community business oracle sessions. Excuse me. Sorry. My throat is very tickly. Let me take a sip. Okay. Trying to start a business. It's very slow though. Yeah, we can talk about that for sure. Tell me what you want your business to look like, who you want to help, what kind of services or products you want to offer. Tell me all about it in the comments, Isabella, and I'm happy to give you some personalized advice. And I'm happy to give advice to anybody else who shows up as well. But since I think it's primarily you right now, Isabella, let's do it. Let's go for it. But while you are putting that information in the chat, if you want to share, if not, feel free to like email me or something. If you want to keep it private, that's okay too. But anyway, so I'm starting this podcast. I'm very excited about it. It's going to be all about being a chaotic business owner and working with your brain instead of trying to like be this super type A organized person when like a lot of us just aren't, and that's okay, That's totally fine. More entrepreneurs than you realize are actually truly chaos gremlins. It's just some of them can afford to hire people who are not. That was me for a while. I had a VA for about 2 years. She recently had to move on to her own business, which I'm so excited for her. But I had a VA for 2 years and I am a Gemini and she was a Virgo, and it just like worked so well. And I am so excited to hire someone new who's gonna, kind of fill that need again for some organization. Hey, Joey. Hi. We are talking all things business, specifically business as an ADHDer. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm super happy to answer them. I'm starting a business podcast called the Chaotic Business Podcast. That link should be in the description of this video, wherever that is. And along with the community business oracle sessions. So these are monthly sessions that I hold the first Monday of the month at 10 a.m. Eastern, I believe. So the next one's coming up here soon, and not next week, but the week after, I believe. And basically what we do is we talk shop, we do some business show and tell, we pull oracle cards. It's a really good time. So you should sign up to come to that if you would like. We would love to have you. See, it's a little bit hard to explain in the chat. I have to explain everything. Yeah, I mean, Isabella, I think one of the biggest and hardest things about running a business is nailing like your elevator pitch, which is like, if you only had from the time you and another person got into an elevator and you got to the top floor of the building, how would you describe your business in that amount of time? So I think if you can come up with like a sentence or two that depicts what your business is, that would, I will have services available. Awesome. That's great to know. You're a service provider. Really cool. But yeah, if you can come up with like a brief elevator pitch, just a sentence or two, that way I can work with, kind of the niche you're working in and all of that good stuff. So Joey says, I tried to get a new organization app, but my phone told me I don't have space. No. Oh, that's always the worst. It's like, okay, now I have a whole new task that I could use some help organizing, but I need to do the task in order to get the organization app. Yeah, no, I get it. It's like a loop. Creativity focused and also a community. Okay. So you're looking to build community, help people with creativity, and you will have services. Okay. So this is like not necessarily ADHD specific business advice. It's just good business advice to know in general. There are, generally speaking, 4 parts of your business, right? There is the first part, which is visibility. This is just people have to know you exist and that you have a business, right? They have to know that you're out there doing something. A big way that I tend to get visibility is on TikTok or YouTube, sometimes over on Instagram. Socials, generally speaking, are a good way to do this, although you can also do it through like bundles and summits, freebie swaps. Let me explain what those things are. Freebie swap's pretty simple. You come up with a free thing, somebody else has a free thing, and you're like, oh, here, I'll promote your free thing to my audience, and you promote your free thing to your audience. And like, it works even if you both have like smaller audiences. You're like borrowing each other's people, which can work really well. And the reason for doing that is to get people onto your email list. You want an email list. Sorry, this is a little all over the place, but you want an email list because you own the information in a way that you don't with socials. So like if TikTok does get shut down, I'm just going to lose 300,000 followers. But luckily I have some free goodies that people can sign up for, and that puts them on my email list. And so I don't lose everyone, So visibility, you want people to know you exist. Then next step is nurture. You want people to know you, like you, and trust you. Right? They need to know that you know what you're talking about, that the reason you're talking about this like aligns with their reason for doing it. They just need to like get to know you as a person, really. That's nurture. Step 3 is sales. This is where they need to buy from you because this is a business, not a hobby, right? Hobbies are fine and good. I love hobbies. I'm not saying don't have hobbies. I'm just saying if this is a business, money is part of that equation. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sales are not evil. Asking for money is not a sin, especially in exchange for value, right? Like you're giving them something. It's not like you're just taking people's money. You're giving them something valuable in exchange, and that's great. So that's step 3. Step 4 is they need to have a good experience with the thing that they buy. Right? This is one that people leave off a lot. They're like, oh yeah, visibility, nurture, sales. And I'm like, okay, but then what about after you make the sale? Are they having a good time? Are they learning? Are they growing? Are they, are they getting what you said they would get? Right? Some kind of coach as well. I want to do different things. I have a website where people can sign up. That's great. That is a wonderful first step. So it sounds like you want to do coaching, you want to have a community, and you want to do a lot of different things. Here is what I would probably recommend. First, I would pick a short-term strategy, something that's going to give you quick wins. This is something like TikTok, Instagram, Threads, X, sometimes LinkedIn if it suits your niche. Somewhere where even if you don't go viral, you can get some increased visibility pretty quickly, right? Then I would pick a long-term strategy, something like blogging or YouTube or podcast or something like that, that you're not going to get returns right away, right? Like it's very uncommon to like just suddenly get a bunch of followers on YouTube or subscribers on YouTube, or it's rare for a podcast to just like pop off right away. It happens. It totally happens. But you don't want to count on that, This is going to be a more long-term strategy. And I recommend having a short-term, a long-term, and email. Now, that's if you've got the spoons for it. If you don't have the spoons, then I recommend short-term and email, right? And hopefully you've got the spoons for that. I'm working on creating a safe space and to make people feel involved in the business when it comes to designing the workshops and sessions. So it sounds like you might want a membership, something like a Patreon, or you can set it up yourself if your business software has that feature. Where you could basically, where you could say like, okay, here are the options for our workshop next month. Which one do you want? Poll closes on Wednesday, and whichever one has the most votes is the one that we're going to do, membership, but also things for free. Yes, I encourage you to do things for free within reason. The reason I don't want you to just like give things away for free all the time necessarily is because you want to make sure people know that you are a business, I guess. You got to kind of find your relationship between like, am I a business or am I an influencer? Because influencers give stuff away for free all the time because it's basically like saying, thank you for putting up with all of the ads in my content. In exchange, here's this free Notion template. Here's this free thing. Here's this free that. They have kind of that set up. Whereas with a business, it's like, thank you. Like you want to make sure people know that you have stuff for sale and that that's where the best stuff is. So I'm not saying don't give stuff away for free. Heaven knows that I do. I'm literally doing this Q&A live for free. And that's totally fine. You just want to make sure that there's a good balance and that you're always talking about your paid offers because that's where the good stuff is. That's where they're going to get the most value, right? So that's kind of what I would just recommend. But yeah, growing a membership is fun, but it can also be tricky. You want to make sure that you have really good visibility strategies if you want to grow a membership, because memberships only make a good amount of money if they're either expensive memberships, or if you're wanting to do more Patreon model, then it's probably going to be lower cost. And in that case, you're going to need a lot of people in there for it to make good money, right? Yeah, thank you for that advice. You're welcome. I am one of those creators who I try to straddle the line between influencer and business owner, where I do give a lot of stuff away for free. I do create a lot of content. My content is part of my income. But when you're first starting out, your content is not going to be part of your income because you won't be monetized yet. It takes a while to get monetized on things like TikTok and YouTube. So you've got to have a way to make money in the interim. And that's where you really want to be promoting the business services and whatnot. Yeah, that's true. So, here's what I did when I started. I started with one-on-one coaching because I think if you can't teach something to someone individually, you're going to struggle even more teaching it to a group. Generally speaking, obviously that's not the case for everyone or for every situation, but generally speaking, if you can teach it to one person, then you can try to teach it to lots of people. So I think it's better for solidifying your authority and solidifying your knowledge and making sure you know enough to do this. But also one-on-one coaching is a little more expensive than something like a group program or a digital product or something like that. So I started with one-on-one coaching because I needed the money. Like, I'll just be totally straight up with you. When I started my business, we needed the money. And I was like, I'm not going to make enough money selling this $12 digital product. I need to be making more money than this. So I did half-hour sessions because I was nervous about doing a full hour. I did half-hour sessions for $45. That's what I did. And I took clients, and then eventually I was like, hey, would you want to do hour-long sessions? And they were like, yeah, actually, that would be great. And I was like, okay, are you okay paying $90? So the exact same amount, just for double the amount of time. And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And so I started there. I'm not saying that's where you have to start your prices. You can start higher, you can start lower. I know people who started coaching for free just to get used to it. You can do whatever works for you, but that's what I did. And basically how I got one-on-one clients is I went on TikTok. I made a valuable video. It was 5 signs that you're dealing with internalized shame. And then at the end, I said, hey, if this resonates with you, go to my link in bio. This was back when I think I had enough followers that I could put a link in bio. But anyway, I don't remember the details. But I basically said, hey, if this resonates with you, then you should work with me. I'm a mental health coach and I would love to help you with your internalized shame. And it went viral. It got like 3 million views or something crazy. And I had like 100 discovery calls over the next like 3 days. It was crazy. I'm not saying that's going to happen every time. That is how it happened for me. And I just think putting yourself out there and just consistently giving value and then saying, if you want more value, come work with me, I think is a good strategy, honestly. I think there's a reason that worked, right? I'm not saying like it'll happen every time, but I think there's a reason that worked. I gave people something valuable and told them you can get even more value if you work with me, and here's how, you know? I am really out of my comfort zone when I think about starting some social media presence. I'm a bit older, so maybe that's why. Yes, hello. So, fun fact, I think almost every generation is on TikTok. I think Instagram is much more millennial, and I think YouTube, every generation is on YouTube. Older generations tend to be on things like LinkedIn because they tend to be further on in their career and it's important for them to be making those connections. But what I'm trying to say is that there are people of all ages on all social media platforms. So don't let your age hold you back. You know, don't let your age be the thing that like keeps you from doing what you want to do. Something I tell people all the time with social media is don't produce content for a social media that you don't use. So if you're like, oh, but I don't use social media, then don't be on social media because there's inside jokes you're not going to get. The features are going to be hard to learn. You're not going to enjoy it. You know, I think if you want to be on socials as a creator, you need to be on socials as a user as well, you know? And I think just take like a week and spend like an hour each day on the social platform you want to create on and just get used to what the platform feels like and just get used to that and then slowly start creating a little bit and see how that feels, you know? I feel like I can coach. I love listening to people and have deep conversations. I've learned so much about neurodivergence, and I also have a degree in music and sound design. I'm going to have coaching sessions in music as well. Yes, absolutely. I think you can coach. So I think you should. I think people need help with a lot of this stuff. And people need help knowing how to produce music for sure. People need help with just their general creativity. Like, am I allowed to produce music? Am I even allowed to make music? Is that okay? Am I good enough? You know, like I love creativity coaches. I think they're amazing and super needed. I think every human is inherently creative, but a lot of us have lost touch with that just because capitalism. DBH capitalism. So yeah, being a creativity coach who focuses on music and neurodivergence specifically could be really powerful, Isabella. I would frame yourself as like a creativity coach or a music coach. And then I would just say that you specialize in working with neurodivergent people. Maybe. Singing mainly, but also songwriting. I'm not so experienced in music production though I know the basics. Okay, maybe don't say production then. Like that's something you could help people with like here and there, but is not the main thing you want to be doing. So like you could call yourself a vocal coach if that's the kind of services you're going to be offering. You could offer it as um like sacred creativity through song or something. I would really nail down what is your signature offer. This doesn't mean you can't offer other stuff, but what is like the main thing you want to get people in? There's one-on-one coaching, there's your membership. I would really start promoting the one-on-one because you don't need a huge audience in order to make decent money through one-on-one coaching. Like you could promote the one-on-ones. You make YouTube videos, Isabella, right? I feel like I've seen your YouTube videos. Start doing like I have ads in mind that are just ads for my own services. You can totally do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, not often though. That's the other thing. Start getting I hate consistent, but persistent with social media. Don't give up. Just keep coming back, do it as you're able, and screw this idea that you have to post every Tuesday at 10 a.m. or something. Just post, I have live streams sometimes too, and I love to interact with people. Okay, this is where you need to email your email list and tell them I'm doing a live stream. Come and chat with me. That way, you get like more folks coming live and you get to have better conversations. And then you can reuse that live stream and you can download the video and or get the link and send it out to people. Right? That's probably what I'm going to do with this one, to be honest. So, hi, everybody who's watching the replay. Um, um, that's funny. I'm a musician as well and have been working in that field for a long time. Now I've just opened my law firm on the side. Holy cow. You are a productive baddie. That is awesome. Musician, lawyer, like kicking ass, taking names. That is fantastic. So what is your business going to look like, Sybil? Is it the law firm? Is that what you're talking about starting or what you're wanting some help with? I'm super happy to give any advice that I can. To be fair, I've never run like a brick and mortar. I've never run something purely services based, like being a lawyer where like you perform a service like that. I have always done like online business and like coaching, digital products, courses, stuff like that, content creation. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Idea for product, a poster that talks about persistence from your perspective. I love that. Maybe I'll have to make that. I've played with print on demand, but it hasn't been very successful. Maybe I'll make like free phone wallpapers or something, like phone backgrounds and stuff. Maybe I can do something like that. Okay, so Sybil, you want to get the law firm off the ground. Do you practice a specific type of law? Like, are there specific cases that you are most likely to take and most likely to specialize in? Because that is what you want to speak to. And I know a lot of business owners are like, but what about the people who don't fit in that super narrow like niche? What if somebody wants something else and like I could help them? They'll find you. They'll find you. I think, lost my train of thought. Hold on. I think when we niche down, we're not being exclusionary. We're not saying, oh, you can't work with me if you don't fit this niche. It's just, this is what I specialize in. You're allowed to specialize, I have so many things I want to do. I'm thinking about using music for designing exercises that improve mental health, for nervous system regulation and processing. That could be a really cool business, Isabella. That could be really, really cool. What if it's like, I just had like this idea of one of the things you offer could be like voice lessons for people who don't want to be professional performers, voice lessons for people who sing in order to stim, something like that could be really cool. I would buy that poster. That's awesome, Joey. I'll have to make something like that. Yes, I have my special interest and want to try it out if there's a market for that. Yeah, okay. So I would start like, first of all, if you have any testimonials from past clients, obviously they can be super anonymous if need be. But if you have any testimonials from past clients, I think that's really helpful. When I'm looking for a service provider, like a lawyer or like a psychiatrist or like, whatever, I always want to know what past clients of theirs think. So getting testimonials could be really powerful for a law firm. And then I wouldn't try too hard with the social media to like do all the trends unless you like trends. If you like doing trends, go for it. But I think sometimes businesses that do that go really hard on the trends can feel a little forced. It can feel a little like cheesy. Not that there's anything wrong with cheesy. I like cheesy, but we just want to make sure you're doing what feels right for you, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm working on and many other things. So, Isabella, I'm going to tell you to pick something to sell and try to sell it. Instead of trying to build out this whole ecosystem of everything and making sure everything's in line and like perfectly set up before you sell anything, I think you need to try to sell something like next week. Like just try to sell something next week, see what happens. And the reason I say that is because I think it's better to fail quickly than it is to succeed at like molasses pace. because the truth is you're going to fail no matter what in business. Like it just happens. I have flopped on my face countless times and it's totally okay. But the faster you fail, the faster you can get back up and then succeed, you know? So I'm not saying this is going to fail, by the way. That's like not the vibe. I just mean like, don't try to make everything perfect before you get started, because I don't think that that's very helpful for most people. Let's see. I would pick something. Maybe it's one-on-one coaching where it's like, let me teach you how to sing well enough so that when you stim, you're not distracted by your voice being like not the way you want it to sound. You know? I understand what you mean. It's good to plan everything and try. It's good not to plan everything and try to be perfect. Yeah, exactly. Like I just think sometimes new business owners are like, I have to make everything has to be ready to go so that when I do start posting, there's somewhere for people to go to, which totally makes sense, by the way. I totally get that. But what often happens is people spend months making their website and building their offers. And then they finally start posting on social media and they realize that they want to do something different. And then they've wasted all this time, and that feels bad. It doesn't feel good. To have to redo all that work. I think you figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it by creating content about it. At least that's how I've often figured out what I want to do and how I want to do it. Are there any other questions, like specific questions about business? Just so you know, like a little bit of background on me, I have been running my business since 2020. October of 2020 is when I started my first business. It was called Healing Unscripted, which I still kind of love that name, to be honest. And I was like a general mental health coach. Like I was like, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, but I have been through the ringer mental health wise, and I'm super happy to help, as like a life coach. And that worked really well for a while. And I quickly realized all of my clients were autistic or ADHD or both. I was not diagnosed yet. So I was like, huh, that's weird. Uh, um, and then I really narrowed down to talking about executive dysfunction, talking about autism, ADHD. I started to realize I was those things. That's why I started talking about it. And then I'm trying to think what came next. I also run another business now that I started about a year ago called The Chaotic Entrepreneur, which is where I offer business coaching specifically for chaotic humans who tend to have ADHD but don't have to. And yeah, I've been in business for 5 years now. I love running a business. I made 6 figures in 2023. I did not make it in 2024, but it's going to be close in 2025, but I think we can do it. So I've made a good amount of money doing this. I scaled pretty quickly. In 2021, I made 15,000. In 2022, I made 45,000. And then in 2023, I made just over 100K. And then in 2024, I think I made like 65K. And this year I'm hoping to break that 100K mark again. So I don't say that to brag necessarily, but just so you know, like I have made real money doing this. I have a lot of food allergies and I'm thinking about making a channel with recipes with foods I miss, especially because food is my special interest. I don't know if that would make me sad or if I want to monetize. I love that. I don't know. Making recipes with foods that you miss might make you pretty sad. I wonder if you could do like a food channel that's like how to make like dupes. Like, okay, you love baklava, but you're allergic to walnut. Here's a pistachio recipe instead. It's like a baklava dupe. So I think I like something like that could maybe be a little more positive, like put a positive spin on it. But if you just want to dedicate a channel to like, I miss this food, like I think you could do that. But I wonder what would keep it exciting and keep it interesting as like time went on. Sorry, the lighting just shifted dramatically. It got cloudy outside. Is there a website you can recommend for entrepreneurs who offer services? What do you mean, Isabella? Like an example website? Or like a coach, like I am a business coach. I would be happy to work with you, although I have other coaches I also recommend. Um, yeah, exactly. I remind myself a lot that it doesn't need to be perfect, just get started. Yes. I have questioned the idea of writing fiction as a business. It seems like writing for money rips any creativity from me. That can happen for a lot of us. Like turning our hobbies into a business can be really hard, because, yeah, it makes it less fun. It just makes it a lot less fun and harder to do on a consistent basis. It makes burnout much more likely. So that is possible. For me, I guess I just lean into the parts that I love and I let myself love them in my business. So like I love creating sales pages and design, like web page design. I'm not very good at it, but I like it. And I love coming up with new offers and helping people and learning things. And so I just make sure that I keep having fun in my business, you know? Um let's see, what else is there? If you guys have not signed up yet, you should go ahead and sign up for the Community Business Oracle session. It's like a shop talk kind of thing that we do once a month where you can come and talk about your business, do business show and tell, show us what you've been working on. We'll pull some Oracle cards and see how that like pertains to our businesses and all of that good stuff. You don't need to have like an up and running business to join us. You can have a business idea and we'd love to help you solidify things. You can sign up for that in the description below. Um, but yeah. What else do you need to know? How else can I help? What else do I know about business? Lots of things. I know a lot about business. I run several summits. Summits are amazing. It's basically where you get a bunch of speakers together to talk about a specific topic. And I run the Neurodivergent Lived Experience Summit every January, and it's always a huge hit. It's so fun and it's pretty successful too. It brings in a good amount of money for me. I'm able to pay my speakers. I'm able to make some profit that carries me through the rest of the year. Um, it's a really big deal and really fun. Is there a good ratio of long form video to shorts content? Honestly, I don't know, especially here on YouTube. I don't play with shorts too terribly much, which is funny because like I create on TikTok all the time, like pretty much 3 TikToks a day most days. Um so but I don't repost them here on shorts very often. So I'm not sure if there's like a specific ratio that YouTube likes. I would play with it and find out like what's getting you the most views and what's getting you the best engagement, not just engagement, but engagement from kind, courteous people. I know sometimes in YouTube comment sections, we don't attract the kindest, most courteous people, and that's okay. It's just the platform, has nothing to do with you. How do you structure your day, tasks, and all that good stuff? Yes, Sybil. Okay. I am a little bit different than what you might hear from other entrepreneurs because I have ADHD and I don't like, okay, for example, there are some entrepreneurs who they want all their meetings to be like on Monday or on Wednesday or whatever. They pick a day and that's their meeting day. And then all the other days they're free to do like their regular work in their business. For me, that would never work because that's way too much open time that I have to then organize, and I'm bad at that. So, what I do is I sprinkle my meetings throughout the week, right? So I have like 1 or 2 on Monday, I have a couple on Tuesday, Wednesday I've got 1, Thursday I've got like actually Thursdays are usually free, and then Friday I do this live stream. So the reason I do that is because then I've got all these meetings, but I've got these like half hour, hour and a half like pockets. And in those pockets is when I'm like, well, I'll just get this done real quick. And it like something about doing it in those little pockets of time is easier for my brain. There's less of a barrier than when I'm just facing like a 4-hour long open block. You know, does that make sense? So most of the time, this is how my day goes. I get woken up at 7 a.m. by my 5-year-old. My 5-year-old wakes me up around 7, and I get him and my 2-year-old twins ready for the day. I take them to daycare at 8 a.m. I drop them off. I come back home Then I film my 3 TikToks for the day. It only takes me about 45 minutes to film. So usually by 9 a.m., I am sitting down and checking my email, checking sales, that kind of thing. Then after I do that, I usually have a meeting somewhere around like 10 or 11 at some point. If I don't have a meeting, then I will likely write some emails, maybe edit a YouTube video, do all those like filler things that need done. Then I've got meetings throughout the day. I wrap up around 3:30 because that is when I have to go pick up my children from daycare. Daycare closes at 4, so and they charge you by the minute. Every minute you're late, they charge you by the kid by the minute. So I cannot be late. So then I go pick up the kids, come home, get them snacks. Ooh, bug? What was that? I hope that was just my own hair and I freaked myself out. Let's see. But yeah, 3:30 I pick up the kids, we get them a snack. I make dinner we just hang out and play until probably 5:30 or 6. I make dinner. Sometimes I have evening meetings depending. And then I play video games with my husband and read books and stuff like that after the kids go to bed at like 8. And then I go to bed at like 9:30. So that's what my day looks like. How do we find you on TikTok? My handle is Meg Moxie, MEGMOXIE, Meg Moxie. That is me. There is not, if it's like Meg Moxie with a period at the end, that's a fake account. Get rid of it. Don't follow it. Block them. So yeah, but Meg Moxie is me. I have like 314,000 followers over there, which is pretty cool. I have been creating on there for a long time, to be fair, like 3 years. I took last year off. But before that I was creating for like 3 years and I've been creating again for a couple of months now, which is really exciting. So yeah. What else do you guys want to know? I can talk social media, content creation. We can talk anti-capitalist money mindset. Found it. Awesome. I'm glad you found it. What else can we talk about? Business organization, all of this good stuff. So I'm happy to answer your questions if you've got them. I don't know. What else do I know? Organization, please. Okay. I use X-Tiles. I use X-Tiles for everything. I love X-Tiles. I think it's unbelievably helpful. And my VA actually built out a business organization dashboard in X-Tiles that you can get when you join the High Priestess Business Mastermind. This is my group coaching. Like group coaching mastermind for business clients. We do hot seat coaching once a week. You get daily access to me on Voxer, and you also get access to a business library full of tools. And one of those tools is the dashboard that my VA built. She has said that I'm allowed to give it to you guys with crediting her, of course. And so, yeah, you can get it in there. As a person who suspects they're ADHD, for my routine, I have what I call structured spontaneity. So I give myself a window or a room or environment to do fleeting interests. Yes, that, yeah, I absolutely love that. I think that that's a really brilliant idea. I do that sometimes too, where I'm like, okay, I have this window. I'm allowed to do whatever I want in this window. And it's like, whatever I want, whatever you want. And sometimes that's overwhelming, but sometimes it's perfect, How do you use TikTok? Okay. Basically I open it up and I use the little record and I use the hold button. So you like hold it and when you let go, it stops recording. So I'll hold it, I say a little bit, like a sentence or two, and then I let go. And then I hold it, I say a sentence or two, and I let go. That allows me to like script what I'm going to say, like 1 or 2 sentences at a time, instead of having to do like one long perfect take, because I find that to be really impossible for most people, but especially ADHDers. So yeah, that's kind of how I film. I just film directly in TikTok. I just do talking heads. So you can go check out my TikTok so you can see what kind of videos I do. But basically I just hold the camera and I talk about stuff. I often have sort of a formula. I go hook, value, call to action. So the hook is just something interesting that's going to keep them from scrolling, that's going to get them to pay attention. The value is like, hey, you stayed for a good reason. Here's something valuable and interesting. The call to action is, did you find that interesting? Here's like where you can get more of it. Here's how you can hire me. Here's why you should follow me. Like that's kind of the call to action vibes. Yeah, so that's, I don't know. Let me know if that answered your question, Joey, but that's how I use TikTok. I found you talking about dissociation issues, and I hadn't heard of that before, but I highly identified with it. Like, it would explain a lot about me. Would love to hear about that. Yeah, absolutely. So, Sherry, for this live, I'm talking predominantly about business. So I do want to stay on topic for the most part, but I am happy to talk about dissociation and workaholism because those two have definitely gone together for me. Because the truth is there are like, I have OSDD, so I have different like parts, in my psyche. And there are certain parts that really love work. I mean, all of me loves my job, to be honest, but like there are parts of me that all they want to do is work. And those parts tend to be very productive. They tend to be very like energetic, and it's easy to just give them the wheel and just let them run the ship. But I need to give them time off, and I need to be sure that I'm focusing some of my energy on my family and on my own body and on my home, all of that kind of stuff. So it is like hard. I think because I tend to dissociate and have these separated parts of myself, it can be really difficult to have balance in my life, you know? But I think one of the ways I'm learning to balance is just being aware of my parts is helping, and realizing, oh, this part has been in control a little too long and they're starting to get antsy. Like we need to switch somebody out. So anyway, that kind of stuff. Let me know if that's helpful. But yeah, I am trying to stay focused relatively on business for this live. Um, yeah, that makes sense. I keep questioning TikTok. I've known some Gen X authors who found TikTok's atmosphere toxic, but I'm like, with what I write, it feels like TikTok is the place I should be. Yeah. TikTok can be toxic for sure. I have experienced that. I have been on both sides of it. I have been part of the problem. I've also been the recipient of some toxicity. So it can be a little bit of a rough place to be. It's not for people who expect everything to be hunky-dory all the time. But if you've got the conflict resolution skills and you've got the ability to like just hit that block button sometimes, it can be a really powerful place to promote your work for sure. So yeah, I think, I don't know. That's what I think. But yeah, I have been creating on TikTok for a hot minute and I really love it. I haven't created my TikToks for today, actually. I got busy. I had other stuff that needed done. So alas. But like I said, I do it most days. I try not to stress too much about it. Um, yeah. What are your tips on maintaining anonymity as a content creator? I don't know. I'm bad at that. I had a secret Tumblr in 2014. And my roommate found out about it within like 6 months. So she was like, wait, is this you? And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, that's me. So I'm bad at that. I'm bad at being anonymous. So I don't know, to be honest. I am certain that there is good advice out there on the internet. I am just not going to be a good source for that because I've always been pretty upfront and myself and put myself out there. I think I just got sick of masking. I just got really sick of hiding. Hiding is how half my problems got created. And so I was like, I'm just done. You know, I relate because I overshare all the time, but that's because I want to help people. So that's necessary. Yeah. Finding that line as a coach is like really hard, where it's like, how much sharing is helping them and how much sharing is actually just kind of for me. Uh, you really gotta be careful as a coach that if you're sharing something, it's to help them. It's not to like, this is not a back and forth kind of conversation. This conversation's about them. Now you want to be yourself and bring yourself into it, but it has to be about them. And like, I know that sounds like, well, duh, but in the moment, it can be hard. It can be tricky. Let's see, Allison, any talking points around how scarcity plays into this topic? In biz for almost 5 years, but a 40-hour job to survive kept me burnt out and unable to move forward. Now on part-time work and leaping. Allison, congratulations. This is great. I mean, not the burnt out part, but like leaping. That's awesome. So talking points around scarcity. So scarcity of energy, I guess. Like, I love spoon theory. I think spoon theory can be really helpful in helping us make sense of our scarcity so that we're not like lying to ourselves and being like, I have infinite energy when we don't. Um, but we also aren't like falling into despair of like, I'll never have energy and I'm always gonna be tired and everything sucks, and like I think spoon theory is a really good way of pacing your energy so that you can use it the way you want to use it. And the truth is, you're probably going to have to restructure the way you use your energy when you start a business because you're going to have to decide to give more spoons to this new thing, which means they have to come from somewhere. You have to stop putting them towards something else. So instead of viewing this as a scarcity problem, I like to view it as like Tetris, where it's like, how can I move the things around? Oh, financial scarcity too. Okay. Um, First of all, debt is neutral. Debt is a morally neutral thing. You are not a bad person if you're in debt. You're not a bad person if you're struggling financially. Fuck what anybody else tells you. Okay. Debt is neutral. Being broke is neutral. It's not a sin that you committed. Okay. So that's a big thing that I just like to remind myself of because your girlie's in debt. Even though I made six figures in 2023, we assumed I would make six figures in 2024, and I did not. I didn't even come close. And so we were spending in a way that didn't match up. It led to some problems. So something that helps me with financial scarcity is really digging into my anti-capitalist beliefs and realizing that money is not pie. There's not a finite amount of money. We're always creating more money and creating more value. There's always another way to make money, you know? And just realizing that I had to do a lot of generational trauma, like healing, in order to get better about money. Because, my grandpa dropped out of school in 8th grade because he had a cleft palate, a cleft lip. He talked a little different. Kids made fun of him. And his family needed the money, and so he got a factory job as a welder, worked his way up, became a master welder actually, and worked on the farm, and he worked so hard. And there's a part of me that's like, here I am working this cushy bullshit life coaching job. Like, he would be so ashamed if he were around, and I had to do a lot of generational healing to be like, no, he worked that hard so that I could do what I wanted. He didn't work that hard so that I would what? Like, do exactly what everyone told me to do? No. So I think that helps me with financial scarcity, is realizing that like abundance is not bad. And I know that sounds silly. Of course it's not. Of course we all want like tons of money and stuff, but like sometimes that can feel bad. So doing that generational work can help a lot too. I don't want to tell people how to live their life and not talk about my experiences and what I've learned. Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that you have to tell people how to live or not talk about yourself. We just want to make sure there's like that the energy is generally flowing towards them and filling their cup, That's all. That's all I meant. I'm a very social person, but I feel like I have burnt some bridges in the past when I was going through a lot and worried someone will recognize me. Yeah, they might recognize you. That's okay. Just don't say stuff that you're ashamed of, Like, I guess I shouldn't say that. Don't put other people's stuff out there. That's my biggest piece of advice. Don't put other people's information or dirty laundry out there. It's not worth it. It's not a good time. Stick to your story, what you've learned. Like, for example, I talk about my OSDD, which is a trauma-based disorder, right? But I don't talk about what my trauma was or who caused it or anything like that because that gets messy. Does that make sense? Do you know of any books about being a business person with an anti-capitalist perspective? I don't know for sure about books, but I do know um, a Instagram person who's also like witchy and super cool. Um, yeah, it's at the financial witch. Let's see if this will focus. The financial witch, Sam. Um, they are she is amazing. Also Saturn's gold. What is this? Following. Anyway, okay. She's just incredible. She has some really cool programs and free resources and all this stuff. So highly, highly recommend her. Also, I have a course called Making Money as a Leftist. I think it can be really helpful. So I can drop that link. Hold on. Okay. I think it's very important to focus on my potential clients and not only talk about myself. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just a balance. It's just, because I've had like therapists, coaches who like never talk about themselves and then I feel like I don't even know them. And then I've had therapists and coaches who like talk about themselves a lot and I'm like, wait, like the focus is supposed to be me. So it's a balance. It's hard, but it's worth it to try to figure it out for sure. And we're all going to mess up. That's the thing. We're all going to mess up. I've definitely told stories before that I thought were funny in coaching and then I saw my clients' faces and they were like horrified and I was like, "Oops, accidentally trauma dumped. My bad. My bad." And like everybody's going to make mistakes here and it's just a matter of repairing and making sure you're building that trust and letting them know you really are there for them in whatever way that works for them and works for you. Okay. I have got about 8 minutes left. Um, let's see. Okay. I've got about 8 minutes left and I can answer whatever questions you've got about business and ADHD or business and autism or business and dissociation or just business questions. I'm happy to answer them. Again, I really encourage you to come to the community oracle session. It'll take place not this upcoming Monday, but next Monday. The link to sign up's in the description. You can also check out the High Priestess Business Mastermind. This is a very tight knit group. I only accept 15 people into this program. There are currently 6, so there's 9 spots available. Highly recommend you come check us out there. It's very fun in there. We do coaching and oracle card readings and full moon rituals and all kinds of good stuff. So highly recommend you come check us out there. Let's see. Are we out of questions? Are we done? If nobody has questions, that's totally fine. We can wrap up a little early. Just let me know. Give you guys another minute. Let's see. Oh, that's so nice. Okay. Going once, going twice. I worked on space on my phone so I could get the organization app. Trying it out now. Good job, Joey. Way to go. Yeah, nice to meet you too, Sherry. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for asking questions. It was great to meet you. Okay. Well, then I am going to skedaddle. Thank you all so much for coming. I hope this was helpful. If you're watching the replay, please feel free to hit reply on the email and let me know if you have any additional questions that I didn't get to. And yeah, that's all I've got. Bye.